What up, your boy MC Shadow? Now bringing you more of the Inland Empire, the IE, Moreno Valley. I'm going to be covering all those neighborhoods. Now, I know that they say that the Rascals is a neighborhood, but there's no Moreno Valley Rascals. What it is that it's the Rascals neighborhood from Northeast LA, TRS, the Rascals is them. They have some homies that stay out there in Moreno Valley, but they're not from Moreno Valley, nor are they Moreno Valley. You know what I mean? They're Northeast LA, and it's the same ones, the Rascals. Another one is Down to Destroy. That's just a Italian crew. So DTD. That's not gonna get thrown in there because I know people say that it's a neighborhood, but it's not. You know what I mean? And then the Bryant Wright Rifa. That's not even a neighborhood either. The Rascals stay right there on Hamlock and Paris, but like I said, it's the same one from the ones in LA, so I'm gonna be leaving them out. And yeah, so here's from the Moreno Valley, and starting out with.
You are now watching M.O.D. Entertainment. Make sure you subscribe and check out the playlist.
I grew up hearing gunshots in the late night. Ghetto bird, police sirens as a mother cries. Just another victim of the Soundbrown genocide. Locals posted, locked and loaded, ready to take lives. And when they heard the chief late, they would duck up out of sight. Like your car when the sundown, it was mission time. You had to stay alert cause bullets always travel blind. We stayed posted, we stayed drinking and we getting high. Marchando down the enemy's neighborhood as we ride. Put the hood, put the clica sample, fuck their side. No regrets, but the truth is no peace of mind.
G-File.
Starting off with the biggest neighborhood from this area, the biggest and oldest neighborhood, even though it's only been around since the 80s, that's still a while before any of the other neighborhoods around this area, is Edgemont Locos. Now, Edgemont Locos, like I said, is the biggest, is the most oldest neighborhood out of all the areas around here, you know what I mean? Definitely going at it with, all the neighborhoods around here, Now, like I said, Moreno Valley in itself is not even old school, it's like, it hasn't even been that long that Moreno Valley, was even like formed and everything like that. Now, Edgemont Locals, they definitely go at it with the crib neighborhoods. Do not like the crib neighborhoods because there's a lot of crib sets out here in Moreno Valley. If anything, they probably the crib sets probably outnumber the Hispanic gangs out in this area. In members and in neighborhoods, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, man, Edgemont Locals, they with it. You hear about them, they keep that shit active on that side, you know what I mean? They definitely, put in work for their side of town, for the Moreno Valley, you know what I mean? They with the business, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my homie Razor, you know what I mean? Firme Camarada, shout out to the homie Cricket from Edgemont Locals. Those are witted homies right there. And yeah, shout out to all the homies from Edgemont Locals that be right there holding it down, you know what I mean? Now, here you have Moreno Barrio Locos or Moreno Valley Locos, however you want to be pronouncing it. And it is a real neighborhood. I don't know why people think that it isn't a real neighborhood. It is. They got members that are locked up and everything, so they're a real hood. Now their hood, you can find them right there by the JFK Park. That's where their neighborhood's at. They've been around since the 90s, like I said, these neighborhoods, because Moreno Valley is not even old in itself. But nonetheless, man, they deep, and they be holding it down right here for in the Valle. You know what I mean? It's one of the larger neighborhoods, and the ones that you do hear about out over here in Moreno Valley. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's what's up with Moreno Valley. You know what I mean? Now here you have Moreno 13. Another neighborhood that started in the 90s. Now, you don't hear about them as much no more. They're kind of not really active no more, which is M13. Like Moreno Valley Locals pretty much kind of like just took their spot, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, man, there's still a neighborhood that was right here by Morrison Park. is where their neighborhood was at. And yeah, that's what's up with Moreno 1-3 right there. Here you have La Gran Familia. Now, La Gran Familia used to be a tank crew that became a neighborhood. They were always roughly a small neighborhood. You get what I'm saying? But even though they were a small neighborhood, yeah, man, they still were holding it down right here, going at it with all the surrounding neighborhoods. Now, they're the smallest one. They're the smallest neighborhood out of Moreno Valley. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, man, they still be holding it down. Now, you could find them on Drakian Street. Not only Drakian Street, but you could also find them right there on Groven and Davis. Was known as the Killer Corner, you know, as they call it. You know, like I said, there used to be a tagging crew as well that became a neighborhood. But yeah, that's what's up with La Gran Familia, you know, and you can still find them right there holding it down for their neighborhood, you know what I mean? Now here we have Southside Maniacs. Now Southside Maniac is a neighborhood that started in the 90s. You can find them right there on Indiana Street and Delphinum Street. Now Southside Maniacs, some people think that it used to be a tagging crew, but it wasn't a tagging crew. It used to actually be a car club. Now this neighborhood is roughly small. But nonetheless, man, they be right there holding it down, you know, for their neighborhood, you know, going at it. Cause right there where their neighborhood's at, it's like where all the neighborhoods are at in the Moreno Valley. Like I said, all the neighborhoods in Moreno Valley aren't that old school, cause Moreno Valley in itself is you know, roughly new. So, you know what I mean? So, you know, even though they're small and not as old school as other neighborhoods, hey, man, they still put in work and they still put it down. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's what's up with, you know, for the neighborhood. Now here you have Redlands, and no, Redlands is not a norteño neighborhood. I don't know why people keep saying that. I don't know if it's because of the red and the title. Like, that's fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Redlands are sureños, homeboys. You know what I mean? Northside Redlands, probably because you know, it's Northside Redlands. That's probably why they think that. But nah, they homeboys. You know what I mean? Now you can find their neighborhood right there on Pioneer, Texas Street, Church Street, and Colton Avenue. That's where their neighborhood's at. Now they're roughly a small neighborhood, you know, due to, you know, the area gentrification and all that. They've been around since the late 80s, early 90s. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, man, they be right there holding it down for the neighborhood. You know, that 1215 gang. You know, they're right at RLS. Now, Redlands is known to be a kind of racist neighborhood because they got a lot of hate crimes under their belts. But like I tell people, it's not that you know, it's not that they, you know, attack black or they just like concentrate on that. So they're not racist. They just go at it with other black neighborhoods. You know what I mean? So it's more of a gang thing than it is a racial thing. You know what I'm saying? But you know, people always don't want to, you know, paint it, you know, one way. But yeah, that's what's up with Redlands right there. You know. Now here you have Vital Penn West. Now Penn West is pretty old school neighborhood. Well, going back since the late 80s, early 90s. But they with the business, man. You definitely hear about them kicking up dirt over there, you know, by the Coachella Valley area. Now their neighborhood is right there on the one way, you know, one way in, no way out. You know what I mean? Entrance to Penway, you know what I mean? And they get it cracking, man. You know, they deep. You know, they do their thing, and you know, you definitely hear about them, you know, kicking up dirt, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's what's up with Penn West, you know what I mean? Here you have West Side and East Side Banning. They're on both sides, on the west of Banning and on the east of Banning. West being the more smaller one, East being the larger one. Decided to put them together because it's the same thing, just, you know, they stay on, you know, this is one of those neighborhoods where, like, yeah, they're just on that opposite sides of, you know, the city. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, man, you know, Banning's a large neighborhood. They active, they old school. You know, you hear about them, they get it cracking. You know what I mean? Been around since late 70s, early 80s. Man, they, you know, they with the function, you know, on Sapo and throughout all of Banning, whether it's the west or the east. Their territory stretches like throughout the whole entire, you know, you can find them just like pretty much throughout whole Banning, you know, by the high schools, their main like turf. Yeah, you know, going at it with the the Crips, because the Crips got a large presence right here in Banning as well. But yeah, that's what's up with Banning. You definitely hear about them more now because that's the neighborhood that Diablo, the rapper, the one that's from Mr. Criminal's label. This is the neighborhood where he's from. He's been representing and putting it on the map as of lately. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's what's up with Banning. I know a lot of people think that Banning don't got no neighborhoods. No, it's definitely got these homeboys, and man, they with the business, they with the function, they ain't playing. Shout out to the homie Cricket. That's a firme camarada from Banning. You know what I mean? And shout out to the homie Vandal from Banning. Firme camaradas right there. Shout out to all the homies from Banning that be doing their thing. Now here you have the 6th Street Night Owls. The 6th Street Night Owls is another neighborhood right here in Banning. You know what I mean? A roughly small neighborhood. Because obviously, Banning, kind of Banning being such a large neighborhood and more older than them. Because this neighborhood has only been around since the late 80s, early 90s. Banning's pretty much got everything on lockdown, so it's kind of hard for expansion and all of that. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, even though they're smaller than their counterparts and all of that, they be right here still representing, on Wilson and 6th. So Wilson is 6th, Wilson is 7th, Wilson and 8 is their neighborhood. Like I said, roughly small territory. But nonetheless, man, is where you can find the Night Owls, definitely doing their thing and still representing, you know what I mean? Now here you have 18th Street, right here by Banning. They're on William Street and Nicollet by the school. Is where you can find the chapter of 18th Street. They're not really large, on this side, but nonetheless, they right here representing, going at it with the Bannings and yeah, it's where you can find them. Now here you have Paris 7th Street. Next to Paris Maravillas, they're the separate gang, right here in the city of Paris. They definitely be doing their thing, you know what I mean? They keep it active, you can find their neighborhood is right here on what's 7th. So it's 7th and Park Avenue is where their neighborhood's at. And yeah, man, they be right there representing.